Doing it. Good morning, fifth graders, fifth grade teachers, everyone who loves these kiddos. I'm super excited to be back live. Sorry about last time I had to take my kids to the doctor's appointment, but I hope that you had some meaningful discussions about tariffs and about what's going on in the world. I really have been trying to keep up with all the things going on in politics, but it's got my head spinning, head spinning, all the things that are going on. This is very unusual political climate. I feel like I feel like that generalization is pretty accurate. Very unusual. So today we're going to be shifting into science. And if you look at this, I'm here reporting live from an archaeological dig. So they're digging. Look, now I'm all out of focus. Rats, you don't have to look at me the whole time then. They are, my screen fell down. I'm gonna leave it. You're not even gonna see me most of the time. But look, I got STEM lab. Anyway, it's fine. It's a Wednesday. We are going to be looking at an archaeological dig. This one's fun. I guess I'm not mirrored anymore. An archaeological dig, and I hear that you guys have been talking about fossils being a record of the past. So with that, I am going to share my screen. We're going to do the town hall tea things. If somebody sees Miss Santallanas come in, please yell at me and I will admit them. All right. Y'all, it's day 3 where information is power and kindness is key. It is time for town hall tea. Super glad you guys are here with me today. We are going to be talking about a new species that was found in fossil form. So fossils, we know, are prehistoric. They are before history. Pre means before. So before our recorded history with humans, we can find these fossils that tell us about time that has gone by. And this is a current event. Not only are you guys talking about it in your classroom, but it's actually happening out in the science field. They found this new skull, and so we're going to talk about the implications of finding this skull. So paleontologists are the scientists who study, here she is, are scientists who study these fossil records and use those records to kind of fill in the gaps and tell us what has happened over time when we weren't here because it was prehistory. So paleontologists learn about all the ancient plants and animals, and they do a lot of inferring. So they'll get a fossil record, and that fossil record they kind of compare to current records and try to figure out the missing links. And so when they line them all up and date them, they can see how things have changed over time. Very cool. And all of the discoveries help kind of put a piece of the puzzle of the past together. That was a lot of puzzle pieces of the past. I'm spitting rhymes today, you guys. Watch out now. So, paleontologists in Egypt have found an almost complete skull of a new species that is 30 million years old. It's from a group of animals called Hyenodonta. And Hyenodonta is two Greek words put together. Hyena is hyena. You guys know what hyenas are. They're kind of dog-like looking. And then donta means tooth. The very specific structure of the jaw related to the hyena it's different than other kinds of carnivores. So this is an ancient apex predator carnivore. Apex. Apex means top. Very top of the food chain. It doesn't have other things that hunt it. So kind of a ferocious, I'm mean looking, not mean looking. We don't even know if it's mean looking, but a carnivore. So carnivore means that it eats meat. It eats other animals, and it is the top of its food chain. So pretty cool animal skull. They called it the Bastetodon cyrtus. Now, all of those have meanings. We'll get there. But this animal has really sharp teeth and a really powerful bite. And they can tell because of the structure of the jaw. And they would use that jaw and those teeth to rip into its prey. So the other organisms that were alive in that area at that time that this organism would have eaten are hyraxes. I don't think we have hyraxes anymore, but it's kind of like a really big rodent of unusual size for all of my Princess Bride fans. Early relatives of an elephant and an early relative of a hippopotamus and primates. Okay, primates are like monkeys. So if we're thinking about this apex predator, it's got to be strong enough to take down an early elephant or a hippo and to run after and chase a primate. Primates, like, they're climbers. So this must have been a really really talented hunter to be able to get at all of these animals. And the place where they found it was in Egypt. So Egypt has a very interesting climate, and it hasn't changed very much over the years. In that African ecosystem, it's mainly hot and dry. So there's a lot of desert area in Egypt. If you've ever seen pictures of the pyramids, very hot, it's very dry. They do have a huge river, and along the river Nile, if anybody said the Nile River, it is very lush, it is very green. So the climates of this place, they say that it was more wet back then, but it was still hot and dry, desert-like. But because they can go back in the sedimentary rock and look down in the layers and match up the time for this skull and in this ecosystem, they can tell that it was still hot and dry, but it was a little bit more fertile than it is now. Fertile meaning like lush in vegetation, but it's no tropical forest, right? It's hot and it's dry. And so the hyenodonts were hunters, those organisms in Africa after the dinosaurs. So this is not a dinosaur looking thing. It's not like a T-Rex and like that. It's kind of half cat looking face and a dog body. Get that in your brain. Ooh. The Bastetodon, this skull, they named it after Bastet, who was a cat-headed Egyptian goddess. Okay, get that in your brain. She's a goddess, powerful, and she had a cat's head. This Bastet symbolized protection, pleasure, good health, all wonderful things. She was very powerful. They named the organism Bastetodon as like a nod to the fact that this organism had a cat-like snout. So not a long dog snout, but more of a short cat snout. And it's from the region in Egypt, so that they kind of put those two things together. Cat-like, Egypt, Bastet. Pretty cool name, I think, Bastetodon. So this is one of the lead study authors, Sharuk al-Hashkar, and she was instrumental in the putting together of and the study of this skull. She is Egyptian. You can see some of her beautiful Egyptian decor, like her jewelry, and on her neck is the goddess Bastet. Hey, look at that. Very cool. It all ties together. And there's a statue to the left, a little white statue of the ancient Egyptian goddess Bastet. It was unearthed in what's called the Fayum Depression of Egypt's western desert. So this was not found near the Nile. This was found in the desert. Oh, look, I got a typo. Bummer. So what all this information does is help scientists hypothesize what that animal might look like. Guys, we have no idea, really, truly, what a Tyrannosaurus Rex looked like. All we have are the bones. And we know about the biology of today and how muscles attach and how they move things. And so scientists kind of put all of those things together to paint a picture of a dinosaur because we don't have their skin. We have no idea what color they were, but we can use the information to kind of infer. So if this organism was found in the desert, it probably had some adaptations that were perfect for the desert. It probably had coloring to camouflage in the desert. It probably had ways to get water because it was in the desert. And so all of these pieces kind of come together and we can infer or hypothesize about what this organism looked like because, of course, we don't know what it looked like. So this particular discovery was very exciting because ancient carnivores, there's not very many fossils of them. There are fewer carnivores in any ecosystem. If you think about I don't know if you guys have done it yet, but the apex being the top of a triangle is a small little piece, and down way at the bottom, at the base of the triangle, is all of your producers, all of your plants. And so there's way more at the bottom, and as you get to the top of that pyramid, there's very few carnivores. So it's pretty rare that they would find a whole skull, and it provides us with lots of information about a group of carnivorous animals that are extinct. They don't exist anymore. It's part of the putting that puzzle together. And I'm truly exciting for them, and it's exciting for me because I love science. All right. So paleontologists are going to look at those fossils and they're going to look for clues in the teeth and the skull about how big the organism was, its diet, what it ate, how it lived. For example, those sharp teeth help us know that it was a predator. If it had flat teeth, that would say that it was an herbivore and it ate plants. Look, there's another typo. Oh, boo to typos. The environment where it's found could give us clues for what it looked like the color and fur that suits a certain climate and things like that. Okay, all of this to say, you guys are going to use these clues that I have given you to hypothesize what a Bastetodon cyrtos looks like. In a moment, your teacher is going to give you this paper. On the right-hand side, that is the skull. That is the skull of the organism. You are going to use pencils, crayons, markers to draw the body, to hypothesize about the body of this organism. So I need everybody listen up. I'm going to list all the clues. You're going to start to visualize in your head what this organism looks like. At the bottom, there are lines for a reason. I need you to explain why you drew it the way you drew it. Why did you make it that color? Why did you make it that shape? Why? Tell me all the whys at the bottom. These are going to be displayed. This is a science activity. This is not mythological creature time. I'm going to give you all the clues and then I'm going to let you go, okay? Here's what we know. Bestetodon is from a desert. It has a cat-like head. It has a dog-like body. It had powerful jaw. It probably had powerful paws to be able to catch it. So when I say cat, let me take it back. We're not talking about the cat that lives on your couch and gets annoyed with you. I'm talking leopard, cougar, cheetah, an apex predator, large cat. We know it lived in the desert. We know that it could hunt down elephants and hippos. With that information, you're going to draw around the skull, give it a body. Did it have a tail? Do we know? We don't know if it had a tail because that wasn't found in the fossil record. Could you give it a tail? Yes, but if you give it a tail, you got to tell me why. If you don't give it a tail, you got to tell me why. You're going to make it a certain color. Tell me why you made it that color. Give me the scientific facts that back up your hypothesis. I am so looking forward to seeing your Bastetodon Certos and displaying it so that all of us can see how our scientific hypotheses come together to make it come back to life without DNA and all that stuff. I appreciate your time. I know you guys have a ton of stuff to do. I am super, super thankful that you let me zoom into your classroom this morning, and I can't wait to see what you can do. Does anybody have any questions? Any preguntas?